Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and guess what? Wizards decided that today would be a great day to drop the rest of Dominaria on us, not Friday, but Thursday. So with that said, we begin our infamous Best of the Rest series, where we talk about all the cards from Dominaria not spoiled individually, or that we haven't had a chance to cover yet. So get ready for the color pie ride of your life as we begin with the white cards in the set, and go through Wooburg order over the next few days. I do hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, helps out a lot. These are mostly commons and uncommons, with a few rares sprinkled in, so for the most part we're going to be talking about limited playability, which will help as we get closer to pre-release next week. We'll begin with Adenite Will. 2 mana for an instant, target creature gets +2/+2 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Straightforward combat trick, 2 mana is efficient enough when the boost comes with indestructibility. Pretty standard card that comes with dang nice artwork, that's gonna be pretty in foil, Banali Honor Guard is 2 mana for a 2/2 human knight. It gets +1/+0 for each legendary creature you control. Now, this I like. I'm always a fan of bears with upside, because it means this is a great filler for any white limited deck, as a 2/2 for 2 is rarely just bad. Plus you get the additional benefit of that legendary synergy. Even just one legendary creature means it's a 3/2 for 2 ahead of the curve. Simple card again, but absolutely playable and limited. It's always important to pay attention to removal, and Blessed Light is just that, removal. It is 5 mana, but it's instant speed and exiles the creature or enchantment, which means you dodge indestructibility, and it really hates sagas, also auras, which we have to remember are relatively common in this set. Again, it isn't cheap, but in the common slot, I'll easily run a few of these in any white limited deck if I can get my hands on them. Never underestimate the power of exiling. Call the Cavalry is 4 mana for a sorcery, create 2/2/2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance. 4 mana for 4 power and toughness across 2 creatures and both get vigilance? I've seen much worse cards, and we're in a set with a legitimate amount of knight tribal support. It isn't going to blow any minds, but Call the Cavalry is going to be powerful enough to make a white main deck a lot of the time. One card to create 2 creatures, especially in limited, where boards can get pretty bogged down, can be powerful. It's a pretty decent common right here, it's playable. Charge is 1 white mana for an instant. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Oh wow, I love this card. Every time we get Anthem combat tricks, they're always really expensive because they're usually +2/+1, or they add some other keyword to your creatures, not charge. This is simple, as cheap as it can possibly get, and in any type of go wide strategy, this becomes a solid win condition. Remember, we just looked at a card that creates knight tokens. We have a ton of sapperling goodness in this set. There will be opportunities to spread your forces far and wide. Charge is pretty dang cool, but only in those crazy go wide decks, nowhere else. Davenant Trappers, 3 mana for a 3/2 human archer. Whenever you cast a historic spell, tap target creature an opponent controls. I've found cards like this interesting. 3 mana for a 3/2 is going to fight decently well in combat, but you want to be able to abuse that tempo trigger. Remember, even just an artifact can get you a tapped creature. With that said, the Trapper is an aggressive card since you'll likely be triggering it on your own turn, creating a bit of back and forth scenario with your opponent. You tap their creatures, you swing in, they untap, they swing in. The Trapper is better in a deck that takes advantage of weakened blockers in an aggressive way, so keep that in mind if you draft it. Dauntless Bodyguard is 1 white mana for a 2/1 human knight. As it enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control. You can sacrifice the Bodyguard to give the chosen creature indestructible until end of turn. Alright, this may be one of the coolest designs I've ever seen. Usually this would be on an enchantment or a combat trick, but Dauntless Bodyguard is a body. That's amazing. It means that you get some added value for your trouble. Not only do you have insurance for your best threat, but you get a 2/1 in the meantime. For a single white mana, the Bodyguard presents your opponent with a lot of questions. They have to deal with this before the creature they actually want to kill. How much effort is it worth to get rid of this? It's a very cool design, I'm a big fan. Dub is 3 mana for an enchantment or enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has first strike, and is a knight in addition to its other types. A card that literally knights a creature. This is hilarious. I want a knight Slimefoot or the Frog Spirit or like Squee. Man, I want a dub Squee. Knight of New Benalia. Good times will be had. If we're talking playability, 3 mana for +2/+2 boost in first strike might just be enough. If you have Knight Synergy in your deck, this becomes a bit better, but the real value for me here is that first strike. The power toughness buff isn't enough, but with a combat keyword, unless your creature is removed quickly, it isn't going to be beaten in combat easily. Could make a nice one of in limited decks. Excavation Elephant is 5 mana for a 3/5 elephant with a kicker cost of 2. When the elephant enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty complex for a common. 5 mana for a 3/5 is defensive enough. The kicker cost is what interests me. It gives you a good mana sink late game, and it lets you recur a historic spell since all artifacts are historic. I wouldn't use this as a filler or anything like that, but if your deck is heavy on artifacts and you use the historic synergies, then it'll be alright. Other than that, I'm not a super huge fan. Gideon's Reproach is back, and this time he's straight punching the Cabal right in the face. I honestly don't have a ton to say about this. I just wanted to show you guys Gideon punching a dude in the face. It's the little things, you know? Knight of New Banali is 2 mana for a 3/1 human knight, another card I don't have to say a lot about, except for the fact that you definitely pick these up and you play them. A 3/1 for 2 is never going to be bad and limited, I don't care what anyone says. There's no drawback here. The knight can fight way above its weight class with that 3 power, and a card like this will often absorb a removal spell or at the very least, prevent your opponent from attacking for quite some time. Play 2 mana 3/1s, play them, just play them all the time. Pegasus Coursers, 3 mana for a 1/3 Pegasus with flying. When it attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. First, Pegasus Tribal gets 1 step closer to existing, LOL. Second, it's a 1/3 flyer for 3, so you aren't looking to deal a ton of damage with this flying horse specifically, but that trigger is pretty powerful in an aggressive white deck. What makes the Courser strong is that you give evasion to a superior threat, and you get another 1 damage out of it. A card like this is meant for a deck that's trying to apply as much pressure as possible. You don't want to play this in a deck with, say, 10 creatures in it. The Courser is meant for a creature-heavy strategy so that it's always relevant when it drops. 14 to 15 creatures at the very least, just keep that in mind. Sanctum Spirit is 4 mana for a 3/2 spirit with lifelink. Discard a historic card to give the spirit indestructible until end of turn. A 3/2 with lifelink for 4 is pretty playable to me. I value lifelink relatively highly, but that ability is interesting. It's likely you won't want to discard your legendary cards or even your sagas, but artifacts? You could probably lose those in a pinch, especially the utility artifacts or creatures you might not even need. The value of a 3/2 with lifelink is pretty high, so in the moment you'll have to figure it out for yourself. But even if you don't have the historic synergy for this card, it's still worth playing. Lifelink and 3 power gives you 2 things you need, survivability and board presence. Sergeant at Arms is 3 mana for a 2/3 human soldier with a kicker cost of 3. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 1/1 white soldier tokens. 3 mana for a 2/3 or 6 mana for a 2/3 and 2 1/1. Spreading the power across 3 bodies is going to be nice if you're running a go wide strategy, or if you're in need of chump blockers. But the real reason we're talking about this card, the flavor text. Knights get the glory, soldiers get things done. Hot fire coming from the Sergeant at Arms, that's hilarious, and probably true all things considered. I think the Sergeant has some filler value, increased value in go-wide strategies, and is a decent mana sink late game, but I'm not taking him super highly. We didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier, but Sarah Angel is back in the set. The only reason I want to bring her up is to tell you that she's still crazy strong and limited. 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer with vigilance is still very good. I suspect it'll always be good. I also suspect she'll go pretty fast and limited, and if you're running a deck with any white in it at all, you should put Sarah Angel in that deck. Queen of the Air, there are technically better cards, but you can't beat this value. Stands the test of time for sure. Tragic Poet is 1 white mana for a 1/1 human. You can tap it and sacrifice it to return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Normally I just ignore creatures like this, but that recursion ability hits your enchantment auras, it hits your sagas. It's surprisingly versatile in this specific set. I would never advocate for taking this highly in a draft ever, but if you have some powerful sagas or powerful auras, running a single one of these in your deck could give you a nice bit of insurance and some value. As we go through each of these colors, I want you to think about the depth and the power. The cards we're looking at here are the ones you'll be seeing a lot if you draft or play sealed, either at your pre-release or anytime after that. So what do you think of White and Dominaria? Personally, I think we saw a lot of powerful white spells throughout preview season, and today, we were shown a couple high quality removal options, decent creatures, some good effects. The color seems pretty well rounded. It'll be interesting to see how it compares to the other colors. Stay tuned to the channel for the rest of the Best of the Rest series. Next episode, blue cards. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. We're quickly approaching pre-release weekend, which means that we're one step closer to getting to release weekend, and if you haven't had a chance to pre-order Dominaria, you really should. The set's insane. If you don't have a local game store or yours charges way too much, TCG Player has your back with boxes at $92 each. It's a totally fair price, cheaper than most other places, so if you're interested and want to help the channel, click the link on the screen. I'll send you a free candy bar. Maybe. It'll be great. Enjoy.